When you hear the name Johnny Appleseed, you picture a cheerful little fellow skipping across America, tossing apple seeds everywhere, so future generations could enjoy delicious apple pie. Except that's not the whole story. Now, Johnny Appleseed was a real guy. John Chapman was his name. But the apples from many of those trees were so sour, they'd make a lemon say,
"Whoa, easy there, pal."
No, those apples were meant for making hard cider. Now, to be fair, Johnny's orchards did help settlers establish farms and communities. But what we never learned in kindergarten is that America's most beloved fruit hero may have accidentally become the patron saint of happy hour. And honestly, we love that, because around here, we enjoy planting seeds too. Every week, we scatter a handful of weird little stories, hoping one of them grows into that moment where you stop and say,
"Oh, so that's why we do that."
So if you're looking for a bumper crop of strange curiosities, then you are in the right place. Welcome to the podcast that answers some of the questions you've always wondered about.
It's the Always Wondered podcast.
Hi, I'm Rick Peterson. Thanks for joining us. You know, for something so tiny, buttons have caused an awful lot of confusion. So have you always wondered, why are men's shirt buttons on the right while women's buttons are on the left? I mean, who looked at a perfectly good shirt and said,
No, put the buttons on the other side. I demand inconvenience.
Yep, once again, the answer may be rich people.
I beg your pardon?
Seriously, if history had a drinking game, every time we'd hear,
Because aristocrats.
we'd all be unconscious by lunchtime. But before we give the wealthy too hard of a time, let's give a little respect to the humble button. For thousands of years, people didn't have buttons as we know them. They tied clothes with strings, pinned them together, wrapped themselves in cloth.
Personally, I just hope gravity cooperates today. Nope, I guess it didn't.
Buttons did exist, but they were for decorative purposes.
Historically speaking, buttons were prehistoric influencers' original fashion accessory.
But around 1200 AD, the buttonhole was created.
Look what I invented.
It's a hole,
That's right.
but there's nothing there.
Precisely.
And once button met hole, the clothing world would never be the same.
Look, it's just like medieval Velcro, only slower.
So why the different sides? Well, men would generally dress themselves. And since most people are right-handed, it made sense to put the buttons on the wearer's right side. But wealthy women? They didn't dress themselves. They had servants do it.
Good heavens! Lady Beatrice has brunch in 5 minutes, and I have what feels like 12,000 tiny buttons to fasten before then. It certainly would be easier if they were on the opposite side.
And that's what happened. Women's fashions were made with buttons on the left to make it more convenient for the servants. But for some reason, once the maids disappeared,
Apparently, the buttons never got the memo.
and the tradition stuck. So the next time you find yourself buttoning your shirt, know this. You are participating in the world's longest running case of...
We've always done it this way.
Because there once was a time when medieval fat cats outsourced getting dressed, and we've all been living with the paperwork ever since.
The Always Wondered podcast.
Did you ever notice that whenever something successful gets invented, suddenly everybody invented it? The telephone?
That was me! No, that was me!
The light bulb?
That was also me!
Think again, pal.
Radio?
I did that. In your dreams, buddy.
And then there's that beloved dessert with more origin stories than a superhero.
Holy puzzlement, Batman!
So have you always wondered, who created the ice cream cone?
Order! We are here today to determine who invented putting ice cream into a cone.
My client did.
Impossible. My client did. Ladies and gentlemen, Exhibit A, a waffle. Need I say more?
Most people point to the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis. Giant exhibits, new inventions, and somewhere in the midst of all that,
Oh no, I'm out of dishes.
legend has it that one vendor had sold so much ice cream he'd run out of bowls.
What am I supposed to do? Put it in people's hands?
But next door, another vendor offered a solution.
You know, I've got a bunch of hot waffles. Interesting. Let's roll one up.
And just like that, humanity peaked. But here's where the story gets messier than a scoop of rocky road melting down your arm. Several different vendors at the fair later claimed they were the genius behind the cone.
It was my idea.
No, mine!
I was doing it before the fair even opened.
It's less of a history lesson and more of an edible episode of Judge Judy.
Did you or did you not place frozen dairy into baked carbohydrates?
And there's another swirling twist. People had actually been making edible cups and cones for years before 1904. There are reports that it was happening in France, in Italy. There were even patents.
Hey, look! I've created dessert wearing its own lunchbox.
So maybe nobody truly invented the ice cream cone. Instead, the World's Fair may have simply turned it into the hottest food trend in America, kind of like avocado toast. Except nobody had to photograph it first. But we do know this: the ice cream cone was one of mankind's greatest engineering achievements. And whoever first looked at a waffle and thought,
what if this was also the plate?
Deserves a standing ovation. Or at the very least, an extra scoop.
It's the Always Wondered podcast.
You know those long, sweltering weeks of late summer when stepping outside feels like opening the oven to check on the lasagna? Someone is bound to say,
Gee, it's so hot. Must be the dog days.
So have you always wondered where the phrase, the dog days of summer, comes from? I mean, did a pack of chihuahuas collectively decide,
you know what? Let's make August unbearable.
Well, it turns out that dogs are completely innocent. The story actually begins over 2,000 years ago with Sirius.
You mean the satellite radio company?
No, we're talking about the brightest star in the sky.
Oh.
The star Sirius is commonly known as the dog star. Now, ancient Greeks and later the Romans noticed that every summer, Sirius rose in the sky just before the sun. And coincidentally, this happened right around the hottest stretch of the year. So they figured,
well, obviously that giant dog star is helping the sun cook us alive.
Because when you're living 2,000 years ago, you don't have meteorologists. Instead, you have some guy named Greg pointing at the sky saying,
don't look now, but the dog's back.
And the angry villagers went,
curse you, sky dog!
But to be fair, if every year a giant dog appeared in the heavens, and then your crops wilted, and your goats got cranky, and everyone smelled like they were marinating, the natural reaction would be,
it's all the glowing dog's fault!
But today, we know Sirius isn't heating Earth at all, since it's about 53 trillion miles away.
In astrophysics, that's technically known as really, really far.
So the summer heat we feel actually comes from the Earth's tilt toward the sun.
Yes, and it was not because some celestial Labradoodles activated broil mode.
But the dog days terminology stuck around. So whenever someone says,
phew, these dog days of summer are brutal,
now you know that your golden retriever is not to blame. But for that upended potted plant that just dumped dirt all over your pristine living room carpet,
What did you do?
well, that's another story.
The Always Wondered podcast.
Well, that wraps up another episode of Always Wondered. Remember, new episodes arrive every Friday. And if you like today's episode, maybe tell a friend. That way you can be like a Johnny Appleseed for weird facts. Just go ahead and scatter us around a bit, and no fertilizer needed. All right. As always, we leave you with one to ponder. Have you always wondered if practice makes perfect, but nobody's perfect? Do we even bother showing up for practice? So until next time, stay curious and keep wondering. I'm Rick Peterson. Thanks for listening.
The Always Wondered podcast.
If you like what you hear, please subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and a review. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Feel free to offer suggestions for future topics or simply reach out to alwayswonderedpodcast@gmail.com.